release of Tenet next week, I'm giving my thoughts on the 3 remaining Christopher Nolan movies I have yet to review, and we're going to start this off with his directorial debut, Following. So, Following came out in 1998, is written and directed by Christopher Nolan. This was his first directorial debut feature, and this movie was designed to be as inexpensive as possible to make. So this is all a no-budget film made over the course of $6,000, and it made back $240,000 in general. So when it comes to this movie, Following, this is a neo-noir crime drama that is presented entirely in black and white, and this is easily his shortest film that he's done. So when it comes to Following, this movie was heavily rehearsed so that just 1 or 2 takes were needed to economize on 60mm film stock. This movie was shot in 60mm film stock, and with no money to afford for a professional lighting, that he mostly used available lights where it's available. So all the low budget qualities that you will see in a low budget movie are presentable here, but Christopher Nolan is able to do it in the way that he wants to do. So with that being said, join down in the comment section down below. What did you guys think of Following? My name is Joshua, aka Future Filmmaker 3940 Reviews, where I talk movies, TV, and music. And if you like to talk about industry things, be sure to hit the subscribe button and that bell notification to get notifications for when I do live streams, when I upload videos, or when I post in my community tab. Otherwise, you're not going to get every single notification that you see. If you want to donate money to my time, or you want to send money to my fan mail, you can do that as well. So with Following tells the story of a young writer who follows strangers around the streets of London, and he is drawn into a criminal underworld when he fails to keep his distance. So that is short and sweet. I'm not going to go too in-depth with spoilers because there's not really much I want to spoil, and also because there's a lot of you people who has not seen this movie. If you have not seen this movie, it's available on Blu-ray and DVD as part of the Criterion collection. Definitely pick it up because it is definitely a must-have in your collection film. So with that being on, let's go into what I like when it comes to Nolan. And Christopher Nolan, he is one of my favorite filmmakers ever. He is a main influence on my future filmmaking career. And not only that, I have reviewed his other movies such as Dunkirk, Inception, Interstellar, and the Dark Knight trilogy, as well as The Prestige. But this, Memento, and Insomnia are the only Christopher Nolan movies I have yet to review. So before Tenet, I said I have to finish Christopher Nolan's review filmography, and so I decided to wait until the appropriate time till this movie was coming out, because with everything that's going on with the pandemic going for it, I just held it off. But now I can finally talk about it. Usually you have a lot of first-time directors who doesn't really succeed 100%. Looking at you, Simon Kinberg from X-Men Dark Phoenix. But when it comes to Christopher Nolan, the way he does in his movies, this movie follows a non-linear plot structure, which is a device that he uses again in Memento, Batman Begins, and The Prestige. And when it comes to this use of storytelling, he says it reflects the audience's inherent uncertainty about characters in a film noir. And this was written and planned to be as inexpensive as possible to produce. So he only has $6,000 to make this low budget film, shot completely on 60mm, and he hired. This movie took a full year to complete. He had cast and crew who were all full-time employers on weekdays, only $6,000, and limited equipment. So, as well as film stock. So when it comes to all of that, he had to use all of his tools to make this movie the way it was. And there is actually a video on YouTube of him talking about this movie, which I will put in the description link down below as well as up here, because it is a very fascinating YouTube video of him talking about his style and his filmmaking, and I would suggest checking it out. So with that being said, here we're gonna go into the positives, and easily the positives about this movie is the decision that he is used to shoot this on 16mm black and white film. So this is entirely in black and white, and I know some people out there who complain about black and white movies, but when it comes to the black and white, here is black and white movies. I'm into them. Psycho, Seven Samurai, 12 Angry Men, and this is another example. And it was an easy decision on his part. And also, he also uses the homes of friends and family as locations. So when it comes to this movie, he shows that you don't have to have a lot of money to make a low budget film. You can just use the resources that you have and provide a good enough low budget film. And that is why I feel like his direction does come in. His direction, even though this was him starting out, his direction is always great with every movie he does. From this, and when this was the beginning, as well as Memento and Insomnia, that showed the potential that what Christopher Nolan had, that skyrocketed him to becoming one of the most legendary directors of our generation. And when it comes to his direction and his writing, the writing and direction is very nice. And here he's able to use the script and use his direction with every single thing he has going for it, and puts a 100% effort into his direction. Also, when it comes to the acting, now these guys that he has, these are not the most well-known actors, but these actors, especially his friends acting, he didn't have the resources at the time, so he had to use a few of his employee friends as well as some of his best friends to do this. And also his brother Jonathan Nolan does make an appearance here. So when it comes to the acting here, the acting is pretty solid, especially from your main character. You get to know about him in only just an hour and 10 minutes. He's a guy following people around, stalking them, and he gets hired to do this underground job. Basically dirty work, if you ask me, on the streets of London. And with that, I feel like with the resources he have, this just showed how much talent that he has as a filmmaker. And when it comes to his acting and as well as cinematography, since he is a cinematographer, he did do cinematography here. His cinematography style is really good. I think it's very well executed, and it's a very well structured, directed film. This is a very well shot film, of course 16mm film, black and white, like movies like The Lighthouse, and but the way it's able to go in here is actually really impressive, and I'm very impressed by a lot of the choices that it made. It's short, it was sharp, and it's very tough to snatch, and this movie does echo a lot of Alfred Hitchcock, and it's tricky, triple-tiered, it's layered out. And Nolan, this shows the natural talent that he has for a fluent handheld aesthetic. So he did have to use handheld cameras as he was making this movie. But I felt like he really held his own, and he did grab you fully into what this movie was going for. Also, the music here is nice. We have to talk about the music. He did the music himself, and I say the music is really great here. I don't have the Criterion release of this, but I will say that when it comes to this film, I feel like he really knows what he's doing as far as a direction standpoint. This guy knows. He didn't go to film school. He just started making movies when he was younger, And he is one of my biggest influential directors as far as the type of filmmaking I want to do. Of course, I want to experiment with all different genres, but in terms of telling a story and just impressing people, that's all. That is what I'm basically aiming for with my movies. Now, of course, the music is by David Julyan, and the music by David Julyan is really good here. I do like the performances, of course, but everything in this movie is really good, especially for a low-budget movie. However, there are some moments that there is a little negative here, but I'm not gonna fault this movie because this was a $6,000 film. So even if you haven't seen this movie or you do have issue with this movie, you do have to give in to the fact that this is a $6,000 film. So my only issue is that sometimes some of the sound in this movie and some of the lighting here isn't well handled, but again, this is a $6,000 movie that Chris Nolan started out with, so I can easily just let that slide because it doesn't hurt my enjoyment of the movie. And I will say the climax is a tiny bit anticlimactic. It just ends abrupt, but again, there's only so much you can do. But for a debut feature, this is a really great start to what Chris Nolan will become and what he will skyrocket as with his later work. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and give following an Epictastic. Definitely a great start to Christopher Nolan's film career. So in the comment section down below, what did you guys think of following? Tell me in the comments down below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Or somewhere in the middle? All my social media links are in the description box down below. If you want to send money to my chime or send fan mail, you can email me or DM me to do either one as well. You guys keep it cool and join the Epictasticness. And all my other Christopher Nolan reviews are in the description box. So next up, you will be seeing Memento because I am shooting all of these on the same day. So guys.